Today we take a look at some highlights from the most recent dev stream for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Let's get to it. This recent dev stream was a bit all over the place and they talked about a lot of random stuff. I'm gonna do my best to cover the most important things they talked about, specifically the next couple of updates that are going to bring about some pretty cool changes. This patch will be the 1.2 patch. Now they were a bit wishy-washy on exactly when this update is going to hit. It's gonna be sometime middle to middle end of next month is what they're tentatively shooting for, is what it sounds like. So first patch, middle to end of March, and then there will be another large patch that will happen sometime in April. And all of those patches will hit all platforms at the same time, which is really cool. So the first patch that we will be getting is the patch that will come sometime mid to end of March. And that patch they've been working on for the past 5 months. This is all the stuff that they knew was going to be wrong with the game during release, little odds and ends that needed to be fixed and rebalanced and stuff like that, but they couldn't get them all in because they were basically scared of causing more problems. They felt the game was very stable, they wanted a stable launch, so they decided to hold off on this patch. But they said multiple times there's well over 1,000 bug fixes and small quality of life updates. On top of that, it is also going to bring the barber update. And with that, we will obviously get a barber. The barber will allow us to change Henry's hair and facial hair. Now, there's not a huge bunch of options, but they got a decent variety of options that can allow you to customize your Henry a little more. And on top of that, you will also get a buff that will last a few days every time you visit the barber that will increase your charisma. Now, a few things that they did mention about the patch is it's going to have some little quality of life fixes. They did some balancing changes to the halberd and they rebalanced some stealth items. They didn't get into a lot of detail. They just made those few very generalized comments. Now, the next big patch that we will be getting, the one that's going to come sometime mid to late April, will be the hardcore mode patch. Now, hardcore mode brings in a ton of different changes if you decide to play hardcore mode. So what is hardcore mode? Well, first off, most of the helpful UI elements are going to be limited in and out of combat, and your position won't be marked on the map, and fast travel will be turned off, as well as your compass is just basically useless. For some reason, they left the compass up there, but it doesn't have any markers on it, so I don't know why it didn't just get removed at all. The footage that they show here is early footage, they stated, so it may eventually just get removed. Doesn't make any sense in my opinion to leave it up there if it doesn't have any of the markers on it. It's kind of a useless cluttery UI thing. And of course, in combat with those missing UI elements, you won't have a stamina or HP bar. You will only see your little weapon thing pop up when you swap weapons. Otherwise, there's nothing down there at the bottom of the screen. They want hardcore mode to be a more realistic, more realism mode. There will be 2 new achievements added for hardcore mode, one for completing the game in hardcore mode and one for completing the game with all of the negative perks, which leads me to the negative perks. So let's go over them real quick. First off, there's bad back, where every time you bend over, you have a chance to sprain your back, which is going to screw with your movement speed a little bit, causing you to hobble. Then there is heavy footed, your shoes wear out faster and you make more noise. Numbskull, you gain experience 20% slower. A very interesting one is called somnambulant, and you lose energy faster, and every time you sleep, you have a chance to wake up someplace different. And something really interesting about this negative perk is this one is one that you're most definitely probably going to want to play with, because they mention that there are secrets hidden that you can't access without having this perk. So you will wake up in places that you can't otherwise access unless you wake up there from having this perk, which is pretty interesting. They didn't go into any real detail on what those secrets would be, so it could just be small Easter eggs, lore, whatever, not sure. They just said there will be things that you can't access unless you have this perk. The next negative perk is Hangry Henry. Hunger reduces your speech, charisma, and intimidation. Food also fills you up 20% less, and you get hungry 50% faster. The next perk is Sweaty. You get dirty faster, and you start to smell faster. On top of that, people can smell you twice as far away, and perfumes are basically useless. Then we have Picky Eater, which causes food to spoil faster, and you get half as much meat from hunting. Bashful prevents you from asking for directions, which is something exclusive to hardcore mode. So because you don't know where you are on the map, something you can do is ask for directions, and it will put a pin where you asked for directions at to allow you to figure out where you are on the map to help you get to know your surroundings a bit better. If you have Bashful, you won't be able to do that. On top of that, you can't use the special services at the bathhouse, and you gain speech experience slower. Another negative perk is Punchable Face. This negative perk causes roads to be more dangerous dangerous because it will cause you to run into more people on the road, and getting into fights is much more difficult because enemies will not surrender. It also causes them to be far more confident in a fight. I'm not 100% sure what that means. Basically, roads will be more dangerous, fights will be a little harder. And last but not least, there is Menace. Menace has a few different effects. First off, once you are branded for a crime, the effect is permanent. Getting caught for more serious crimes will just get you executed, and guards will also punish you harder and punishments will be more intense. So that's the new stuff that we will see in the next two major patches that will be coming out next month and the following. But in 2 weeks, we will be getting official modding, which will include the official dev tools, as well as what they stated would be better modding documentation than what they originally gave for Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. And all of this also means that modding will be coming to the official Steam workshop. So it will be so much easier to mod your game. You won't be having to do things like mess around with Nexus mods because they know Nexus mods is a thing. I know Nexus mods is a thing, but it's like a whole thing because you got to go download it, put it in a special folder, all that stuff. With this, it will be official Steam workshop. You click a button to subscribe, click a button to unsubscribe, and the mod will work if it's subscribed to it, and it won't work if you're not subscribed to it. So this will be absolutely fantastic, and hopefully it will extend the life of the game. Now I want to move on to some other things that they talked about. So from this point going forward in the video, we're talking about all future stuff that we're going to just see at some point. This isn't things that are going to happen in the next couple of weeks. I just want to make that very clear so that there's no confusion. First off, they talked about some of the DLCs that are coming and some spoilers for the DLCs. Some stuff they said which DLC it will be in, other stuff they didn't really talk about which DLC it would be in, just that it's going to be in one of the DLCs. One thing I thought was cool is they want to release free content alongside of the DLCs. So with the first DLC release, free content that will be coming to the game will be new horse racing with horse racing modes. They did not go into a ton of detail about this other than it's just going to expand on horse racing some more, and that's going to be part of the base game that'll just get released alongside the first DLC. They also talked about in one of the DLCs that there will be a forge that you can rebuild, and I'm guessing maybe run as like a shop or something like that. Their dev streams are a bit all over the place. It's kind of hard to get straight facts on some things because they're like, yeah, it's kind of like some stuff in the first one, but not really, but you'll be able to do a thing. And one guy's like, yeah, but you kind of be running a Henry's Forge shop. And the other guy kind of laughs a little bit. So not 100% sure how detailed that's going to be, but there's going to be some cool stuff apparently we get to do with a forge. There's also in the third DLC going to be a large monastery to explore. And in one of the DLCs, they didn't say which one, we will get the ability to paint shields, which is really cool, and customize them, and doing different quests will unlock other symbols that you can paint on your shield. So if you're a shield user, that's going to be pretty cool for you. Now, some other future stuff that they talked about was that we will be getting DLSS 4 in a future patch, and we will also in a future patch get the ability to dry all of our items at one time, like all of our herbs in one go. Like you just click a button, like dry all, and just dry everything, which that'll be really nice. They talked about some possible future nerfs and buffs. So they think that players are getting too rich and too strong in the late game. They don't really like that. They probably are going to nerf that somewhat. They also stated that swords are too strong, but they don't want to nerf swords, which is fantastic. That's so good. Thank goodness for devs that are finally starting to understand you don't always need to nerf stuff. What they want to do is make other weapons as strong as swords, which is freaking fantastic. So that's cool. That's coming at some point. And one other thing that I think was kind of cool that they added here that's kind of like just a lore thing, maybe cool to some people, may not. I think it's kind of neat. There is the camp that you can go to that is normally a bandit camp, which is where you initially set up camp where all of your fellow people get murdered by the random bandits at the very beginning of the game. Well, you buried them there and their graves are there, and at some point you're going to be able to come back to those graves and kind of mourn them or what have you. I guess it'll play some type of animation or you'll set down some flowers or something. I don't know. They just stated that you will be able to come back and say goodbye to your fallen friends at some point later on. I think that'll just be kind of a cool little thing that just adds a little bit more to the overall realism of the game. All right, that's pretty much all I have for you for this one. Hopefully you all found this video helpful and informational. If you did, please consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other videos. And if you're looking for some more of my content, you can find a link to another one of my videos on the screen right now. I want to give an absolute massive shout out and thank you to all of my channel supporters for helping to keep these videos sponsor free. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to become an official channel supporter, check out the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up thumbs up button and share your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.